There's a lot going on in Nigeria, and sometimes when you see some of these things that happen every day in Nigeria, you don't even know which to address and which to leave out. You see, they say Nigeria is practicing democracy, but I dare say, and I've said it times without number, that what we have in Nigeria is not a democracy. It just has a form of democracy, but it is not. Because look at now that you have politicians, everybody is just there, run up and down. Now it gives a coloration like what we have is democracy. But in a democracy where people cannot speak freely about their misgivings, in a democracy where people cannot freely express themselves about what is happening in the society, that is not a democracy. Because otherwise, how do you explain where people will air their views about what is happening as taxpayers, and the next thing you kidnap them and then you take them to court on under trump-up charges? You just bring up frivolous charges against these persons and then you lock them up. Meanwhile, you have bandits, you have people who are perpetrating all manner of atrocity, maiming people, unaliving people. These persons will go online, do videos, and nothing will happen. They will even display the monies that they have collected as ransom, even ransom paid by government to these persons, and nothing happens to them. But somebody just airs their view about what is not right in the society, and the government deems that offensive. These persons are arrested, these persons are charged to court under trump-up charges, and everybody just goes about like nothing is happening. This is not democracy. I dare say this is not democracy. And when people say Nigeria is in a democracy, sometimes I just wonder, in a country where people who have unalived people, who have perpetrated all manner of terrorist activities, are given a pat on the back, and taxpayers' monies are expended to take care of these people. According to Abati, they give them jollof rice and pepper soup, even so ashwebi for them. It doesn't speak well of Nigeria as a country. But that's not even my problem, because a lot has been said about that. Now I want to talk about, you said there's a democracy. And for me, in a democracy, the people are the most important element in a democracy. The people are the most, they're the most powerful people in a democracy. But otherwise, how do you explain to me that in some states in Nigeria, because right now the primaries will be coming up, one person decides who becomes governor. One person decides who goes to the Senate. One person decides who goes to the House of Rep. One person decides who goes to National Assembly or State of Assembly. This is no longer democracy. There's this something that has been coined called Obasope politics that is playing out in Lagos. We are one person in the last almost 20 years determines who becomes governor in Lagos State. Then what happened to the millions of voters in Lagos State who are supposed to exercise their franchise and say, this is the person we want to be governor? But this person just sits there in the corner of his parlor and then tell other people, do not get the form and do not contest. This is a great violation of the constitutional provisions that gives people the right to vote and be voted for. Because if one person decides who becomes governor, for God's sake, what then happens to the millions of voters who this person who has been selected or selected by one godfather might not even reflect the choices or reflect the choice of the millions of voters who are from that state? This is transactional politics. For as far as I'm concerned, this is not democracy. This is transactional democracy. And I've said this times without number, that what we practice in Nigeria is commercial democracy. I'll come to that shortly. Now, if you go to some state, I've heard what's happening in Rivers, Lagos, some other state consensus. Why don't you make a level playing field where people will go there and let the people test, let the people make their choice. It shouldn't just be the prerogative of just one human being who decides this is what I'm going to do, this is who becomes governor, but that the person has the capacity. Because otherwise, this issue of one person deciding who becomes governor or who gets one elected position like that is what has now given birth to the kind of governor we have in Edo State, who comes out every day and makes mockery of Edo State, makes mockery of the system. Imagine a governor telling you that monies I'm using to construct road is Asiwaju's money. Asiwaju's money. So these people, this man needs to be schooled that whatever comes to the federation account is not Asiwaju's money. It is the money of the people, because this is a democracy. Now, about the transactional democracy that I said we practice in Nigeria. Now, you said to pick a nomination form is 100 million naira. 100 million. Up to some state governor 50 million, 20 million, 30 million. And this is a country where we have the not too young to rule law signed by Buhari that time, and then the youth campaign. How many youths in Nigeria can cough out 100 million? How many youths right now can cough out 50 million? How many youths right now can cough out even 20 million? Except you are from the wealthy background, or how many youths can cough out 20 million to buy an expression form for even an election you are not even sure about, and even an election that one person decides from the corner of his parlor that this is the person he wants. I've said it times that number, that what we have in Nigeria is a commercial democracy. This is not democracy. Because look at how democracy is done in different parts of the world. It is not transactional. How can you put forms for campaigns for billions to spend for campaigns? We know campaigns are expensive. But when you make this democracy transactional the way it is in Nigeria, we continue to have a circle of people who do not mean well for the country. We continue to have a circle of people who see election and politicking as a means to an end. We continue to have people who believe that getting into public office is an avenue for enrichment and to get to amass wealth. So when somebody expends billions, you can't hold that person accountable for service, because he has to recoup whatever money he has made. And if he has people who have supported him, he has to give these people back their money with interest, because it's transaction and it's business. This is the kind of democracy that we have in Nigeria. And it is very, very sad. I just hope the international community will see what is happening, and then we'll take steps in addressing all of this. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And leave your comments and let's see what you have to say. Election is coming. Please vote wisely. The future depends on your vote.